Think back to when you were in secondary school. You sat in a freezing cold classroom, staring at a whiteboard, and you learned the periodic table. You learned how to find the area of a right-angled triangle. You probably even memorized the names of Henry VIII's wives. But when it came to the one thing that will dictate the entire trajectory of your adult life, how to manage your actual money, how to read a payslip, or how compound interest works, the education system went completely silent. They sent you out into the real world knowing how an oxbow lake is formed, but with absolutely no clue how an overdraft works. And because of that silence, we all grew up thinking that being bad with money is a personal failure. We think it's a character flaw. You work 40 hours a week, you earn a decent wage, but you get to the 25th of the month and you are absolutely gasping for payday. You look at your mates on Instagram buying houses and going to Spain and you think, what is wrong with me? Why am I the only one who can't figure this out? Well, here is the uncomfortable truth, mate. You aren't the only one. The vast majority of adults in the UK are completely financially illiterate. If you put 10 random blokes in a pub, at least 5 of them are drowning in hidden debt, living paycheck to paycheck, and are one broken boiler away from a total financial meltdown. They just hide it well behind financed cars and credit cards. My name is Baz, and I'm tired of the financial industry using confusing jargon to keep working-class people broke. So, I am putting together a 3-part masterclass. I'm going to teach you everything they should have taught you in school. Today, in part 1, we are dealing with the bleeding. We are going to figure out exactly where your money is going, how to build a budget that actually lets you go to the pub, and how to tell the difference between toxic debt that will ruin your life and fake debt that you should completely ignore. Let's get it sorted. Let's start with the hardest part. The part that gives you that horrible, sinking feeling in the pit of your stomach. We have to figure out exactly where you stand right now. Most people have absolutely no idea what their true financial position is. Trying to fix your money without knowing your starting point is like trying to use a sat-nav without turning the GPS on. It has no idea where you are, so it can't tell you where to go. To figure this out, we need to calculate what the posh finance bros call your net worth. But I hate that phrase. It sounds like something Elon Musk has. For us, we are going to call it your Skint Score. Your Skint Score is incredibly simple to calculate. You take everything you own that has actual value, and you subtract everything you owe. Grab a piece of paper. On the left side, write down your assets. This is the cash in your current account, any savings you have stashed away, the value of your car if you actually own it outright, and the equity in your house if you have a mortgage. On the right side, write down your liabilities. This is the ugly side. Your credit card balances, your overdraft, your personal loans, the car finance on that Audi you're renting, and the money you owe Klarna for those trainers you bought 3 months ago. Now take the total of the left side and subtract the total of the right side. If that number is positive, congratulations, you have a financial pulse. If that number is negative, do not panic. Do not throw the piece of paper in the bin. A massive portion of young people in the UK have a negative Skint score. You are not a failure. You have just been playing a game without knowing the rules. But now, the monster is out of the closet. You know exactly what the number is. It's written down. It can't jump out and scare you anymore when you check your banking app on a Sunday morning. Now that we know the score, we have to look at the bleeding. We need to perform a cash flow autopsy. This is where we look at every single penny that comes in and every single penny that goes out. I know this sounds about as fun as a trip to the dentist, but you only have to do it once, and it will completely change your life. Print out your last 3 months of bank statements. Get a highlighter. I want you to go through line by line. Your income is the easy bit. It's your take-home pay after the taxman has had his incredibly large slice. The outgoings are where the horror show begins. Most people think they are broke because they don't earn enough money. But when you actually do the autopsy, you realize you are broke because of a concept I call death by 1,000 direct debits. It's the Amazon Prime subscription you forgot about. It's the random app that charges you £7 a month to track your sleep. It's the fact that you ordered Deliveroo twice last week because you couldn't be bothered to cook, and that cost you £45. It's the £3.50 you tap your card for at Costa every single morning. None of these things feel expensive in the moment. Tapping a piece of plastic doesn't hurt. But when you add it all up, you realize you are bleeding hundreds of pounds a month on absolute rubbish that doesn't actually make your life any better. If you take your monthly income and subtract your actual survival expenses, rent, council tax, energy bills, basic groceries, you will likely find you actually have a surplus. Let's say you find £300 of surplus cash that was previously just evaporating into thin air. If you take that £300 and invest it properly every month, over 30 years, that turns into nearly £400,000. You aren't broke, mate. You are just disorganized. Which brings us to the solution: budgeting. Now, the word budget makes people want to gauge their own eyes out. It sounds like a financial diet. It sounds like you are never allowed to have fun again. You have to sit in the dark to save electricity, and you can only eat value brand baked beans for the rest of your life. That is nonsense. A traditional budget fails for the exact same reason a crash diet fails. It relies on willpower, and eventually you snap. You order a massive takeaway, and you give up entirely. We are not doing a traditional budget. We are doing what I call the guilt-free pub plan. The guilt-free pub plan is based on a concept called zero-based budgeting. This means that the exact second you get paid, before you have even had your morning tea, every single pound gets assigned a specific job. Your income minus your outgoings must equal exactly zero. You are not leaving a pile of cash in your current account hoping it lasts until the end of the month. Because if you leave money sitting there with no purpose, you will spend it on something stupid. It is human nature. Here is how you structure it. First, you pay your survival bills: rent, council tax, gas, electric, internet, food, the non-negotiables. Next, you pay your future self. You put money into your emergency fund or your investments. We will talk more about that in part 3. But here is the most important part of the guilt-free pub plan. You deliberately assign money for fun. You create a category called pub money, or takeaway fund, or gig tickets. Let's say you put £150 in there for the month. When it gets to Friday night and your mates ask if you want to go to the pub, you don't have to look at your bank app and feel that horrible spike of anxiety. You don't have to wonder if buying a round of pints means your direct debit for the car insurance is going to bounce on Monday. You know exactly what that money is for. It is assigned for the pub. You can go out, spend it, and enjoy it with zero guilt, because the rest of your financial house is completely in order. You are telling your money where to go, instead of wondering where it went. Now that we have stopped the bleeding on your daily spending, we have to tackle the elephant in the room: debt. If you are trying to build wealth while carrying high-interest consumer debt, you are trying to fill a bathtub while the plug is taken out. The maths of debt in the UK is brutal, and it is designed to keep you trapped in a cycle of paying minimum payments until you die. But to beat it, you have to understand that not all debt is the same. There is good debt, toxic debt, and fake debt. Good debt is a mortgage. You borrow money at a relatively low interest rate to buy an asset that goes up in value over time. That is fine. Toxic debt is consumer debt. It's credit cards at 29% APR. It's car loans on depreciating assets. It's Klarna and uncleared balances. If you have a £5,000 credit card balance at 25% interest and you only pay the minimum payment every month, it will take you over 25 years to clear it, and you will pay thousands of pounds just in interest. The bank is legally stealing your future wealth. If you have toxic debt, clearing it is your absolute #1 priority. Nothing else matters. You don't start investing, you don't go on holiday, you declare war on your debt. The best way to do this psychologically is the debt snowball method. List all your debts from the smallest total balance to the largest, regardless of the interest rate. Pay the absolute minimum on all the big ones, and throw every single spare penny you have at the smallest one. When that small debt is gone, you take the money you were paying on it, and you roll it into the payment for the next smallest debt. Like a snowball rolling down a hill, your payments get bigger and faster. Mathematically, it might make slightly more sense to tackle the highest interest rate first, but personal finance isn't just about maths. It's about behavior. The debt snowball gives you quick wins. It gives you that dopamine hit of actually crossing an account off your list, which gives you the motivation to keep going when it gets hard. But here is where we need to talk about fake debt. And this is crucial for anyone watching this in the UK. If you went to university and you have a UK student loan, listen carefully. Listen to me very carefully. Your student loan is not real debt. The media loves to terrify young people by telling them they are graduating with £50,000 of debt. They look at that number and they panic. So they get a good job and they use their hard-earned savings to make voluntary overpayments to try and clear it. If you are doing that, I need you to stop immediately. You are literally setting your money on fire. Unlike a credit card or a bank loan, a UK student loan does not behave like debt. It behaves exactly like a tax. You only pay 9% of whatever you earn above a certain threshold. If you lose your job tomorrow, your credit card company will still demand their money and send the bailiffs round. But the student loans company? They don't care. Your payment instantly drops to zero. It doesn't affect your credit score. It doesn't stop you from getting a mortgage. And here is the kicker. After 30 or 40 years, depending on which plan you are on, the entire balance gets completely wiped. Forgiven. Gone. Because the interest rates on these loans are so ridiculously high, the vast majority of people, around 80% of graduates, will never ever pay off the full balance before it gets wiped. So if you throw an extra £1,000 at your student loan today to try and bring the balance down, it will not change your monthly payment next month. It will just disappear into a black hole of interest, and the loan will still get wiped in 30 years anyway. Stop looking at the total balance. Treat it like a graduate tax. It is an annoying 9% deduction on your payslip, just like national insurance. Accept it, ignore the total number, and use your spare cash to clear your toxic credit card debt or build your savings. Do not let the government trick you into paying off a fake debt that they were going to forgive anyway. Know the rules of the game. Right. You've calculated your Skint Score. You've done the Cash Flow Autopsy. You've set up the guilt-free pub plan. And you've declared war on your toxic credit cards while ignoring your fake student loan. You have officially stopped the bleeding. You are already ahead of 90% of the country. But stopping the bleeding isn't enough. Because out there in the real world, there are massive systemic traps designed specifically to take that newly saved money right back out of your pocket. In part 2 of this masterclass, we are going to look at the poverty premium. We are going to look at why leasing a car on PCP is destroying your future, the exact size your F-off fund needs to be, and the brutal truth about renting versus buying in the UK. If you got value out of this video, hit the like button so the algorithm pushes it to someone else who needs to escape the debt trap. Make sure you are subscribed and hit the bell so you don't miss part 2 when it drops. Do your homework. Look at your bank statements. I'm Baz. Let's get it sorted. I'll see you in the next one.